Hello everybody, my name is Aaron Culp and here's my partner Andrew Simmons. We will be reporting on two separate ethical dilemmas and our conclusions. Our first case application covers the ethical dilemma of Buildings R Us applying for earthquake recovery assistance from our government. Buildings R Us has an old warehouse located in the historical district. The building is also a historical landmark, so the people of the area don't want the building to be taken down. Another issue that arises is the old building is very unstable, and the area that it is located in also has a lot of seismic activity, which could cause the building to fall. Buildings R Us wants to actually take down the building and rebuild a new warehouse in its place that would be a lot more stable, and they wouldn't have the issue of it being able to fall. They then contacted ABC Engineers to get an opinion to see if the building would collapse or if it would sustain the seismic activity. ABC Engineering's assessment said that the building is actually okay and that it would only just need to be reinforced, not a whole new building would have to be built. But this would remove the ability for Buildings R Us to actually apply for the government assistance. Buildings R Us went back to ABC Engineers after the assessment was complete and then requested that they actually do another assessment saying that the building was unsafe. If ABC Engineering would actually change their assessment, Buildings R Us actually said that they would contract them to help with the rebuilding of the new building. I think the best possible option is to go with the current assessment because of the utility theory. This means that it causes the greatest happiness for the greatest amount of people. The two options that we face are ABC Engineering can go with their original report, and then Buildings R Us would actually have to fix the building. The other option is ABC Engineering creates a new report, and then they get contracted for the work to fix the building themselves. Buildings R Us will not be very happy with this decision because they will have to pay to fix their own warehouse. ABC Engineering will be very neutral because ABC Engineering will go with their original assessment, thus avoiding fraud with the government, but the downfall will be that they will not be contracted for the extra work. The other groups that are affected are the government and the people of the area. The people of the area will be happy that the original building is staying because it's in the historical district and they love the historical building. The government will be happy because there is no fraudulent activity, and they also will not have to pay for the disaster relief under fraudulent terms. I believe ABC Engineering should be responsible to actually come back after the building is fixed and make sure that their assessment was correct in the first place.
Our second ethical dilemma deals with Starbucks and CSR, also known as corporate social responsibility. Customers don't care so much for the product that Starbucks is serving, but in this case, there's critics coming out where they're more concerned with how Starbucks is handling cases socially and politically, how Starbucks is involved in the community, where they get their supplies to make their product, in this case coffee, and how they just interact with their stakeholders. Now, Starbucks does have a history of integrating CSR objectives into their business plans, although for some critics, this has not been enough to just implement it into the business plan. Starbucks has also faced some criticism from activist groups in the community saying that they haven't done enough. And the biggest thing facing Starbucks is getting the CSR objectives right the first time, so they don't have to have this controversy between these different groups and go back and revisit everything, because that can be a waste of time and time spent elsewhere if they just nail it on the head the first time. One alternative that I came up with for Starbucks is I'd like to see them expand their CSR objectives to become more sustainable and self-sufficient, as well as focusing on the communities and the impact where their locations are located. Now, Starbucks already does do some very good sustainability practices, such as eliminating straws in most stores, creating strawless lids for their cups, and a couple other environmental factors like recycling and green cups, sourcing, and different things like that. But I'd like to see them get the entire supply chain to go green. And what I mean by that is locally sourced products for their different pastries, and just knowing where in the world and how, like the labor, everything that went into the coffee bean, the pastry, the cup, even down to the nitty-gritty, nitpicky item. I would like them to know where everything came from and be transparent so that the consumer can see all the data. Also, I believe Starbucks should reevaluate its corporate policy to include all employees, and I also think that it's important to protect all customer and employee data, as there's been quite a few data breaches in the past couple of years, and that would give some peace of mind to stakeholders. One of the most important aspects of the whole answer to the ethical dilemma I'm delivering here is the follow-up process. What I mean by that is someone has to monitor these CSR systems and make sure that Starbucks is aware of where their coffee beans are being sourced from, the labor, making sure that there's no child labor involved, and different things like that, making sure green initiatives are met and different metrics are kept up with so that the stakeholders are actually getting the correct and true data. Given everything that I've gone over, it's my opinion that if Starbucks acts now, they can help to mitigate the volume and noise that the critics are generating regarding their CSR systems and objectives. I think Starbucks should change the CSR objectives, as I've mentioned before, to accept a broader and perhaps a larger responsibility for those objectives, which would include the implementation of monitoring, transparency, and a timely reevaluation of those same objectives to include more sustainability and the impact on the community that Starbucks is encompassed in. As you can see, we worked through both of our ethical dilemmas in our own separate ways. We both came out with some pretty favorable conclusions. We really hope that you guys were able to take something away from our presentation. Thank you guys so much for listening.
And have a great day.